particular movie. And this woman, she was a single mother, right? But she didn't give that child. She had just one son. She didn't give that child attention. Do you know why she didn't give that child attention? You know that attention that she didn't give that child is a form of punishment.
Yeah.
It was not that the child has done anything wrong. So what I'm saying is that parents or people, sometimes we might actually be punishing a child unintentionally.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Child and Us, where ideas, parenting, and practice meet. Today, we are so delighted to have you join us here again. Today's topic is about parents, teachers, caregivers. They really face it's what they it is what they really face. Should children be punished or disciplined? Fumilola, what do you think?
Yes, thank you, Taiwo. I think that's an interesting topic because people confuse discipline and punishment to mean the same thing, but they're entirely different.
Okay.
And just like our last topic, which was misbehavior, I know that it's very important to know that children would always misbehave. And we know that there's always consequence for every action.
Right.
So now, the outcome is what makes a difference. So when we're talking about punishment, it shows that you're trying to make the child suffer for what they did.
Okay.
But when we're saying discipline, I think it means that you making the child learn from what they have just done. And I think I would say our parents those days used the discipline method, which I think might be because that's how they were brought up, or maybe they were just frustrated.
So I'm going to say that the aspect of the traditional way
Mm-hmm.
of how they, let's say how they,
The millennials, our
they
parents.
brought us up. So I'm going to say that it was more of punishment than discipline.
Yeah. You're
Because
right.
they want us to like
suffer for what
yes,
you have done,
They want us to
rather
suffer
than you learning from it.
from what's
And I also think that punishment is temporary. Discipline is like a lifetime thing. So when you punish a child, the child knows that when I do this, you punish me. Do you understand? So they can always do it again. And also the children also know that when you communicate with them and tell them the reasons why you don't want them to do that thing.
Yeah.
I think that's like a lifetime thing, such that when an adult is not there, the child will not do that thing. I think that's where discipline comes in. But when you say punishment, it means that when an adult is there, the child will not do. But as soon as the adult leaves, the child is going back to it.
So let's get the opinion of
No, I don't. I actually agree with what Fumilola said.
Okay.
But it's not actually about whether we are looking at punishment or discipline.
Okay.
No, there are so many parents that might not probably even know what punishment actually is and what discipline actually is.
Yeah.
Right.
And they confuse the two.
Okay.
Sometimes some parents might probably, there might be a kind of situation where a teacher might probably discipline a child. But for some parents, it could probably be, they might be seeing it as punishment.
Okay.
I think
Not knowing that, from Lola, not knowing that the teacher is actually trying to discipline the child.
Sorry,
Okay,
can I
for me-
say that? I'm sorry. Can I say that? Does that mean that discipline is subjective? Because from what you have just explained, you're trying to say that what I think is discipline for a child might be different from another person.
Exactly.
Because you have just said that a teacher might discipline a child, but for the parents, that's not discipline. So are you trying to say it's subjective?
It's actually subjective because a parent might, just like the subjectivity, a parent might probably, because of the parent's personal bias or because of the parent's disposition to punishment. So like I said, a teacher might probably discipline a child, just like you explained that punishment is like you are trying to make a child or an hearing child or student or pupil suffer from what they have done that is wrong, right? No, but if you are actually making a child that has erred to suffer from what he or she has done, what are the measures that you are putting in place to make that child suffer? So it's actually on the basis of the measure. It's actually on that measure that you are putting in place What are you doing to make that child suffer? So what you are doing might probably, for some teachers or from some individual, probably parents who might probably be discipline.
That's why
The
I said it's
measures you are
subjective.
putting, yes, very, very subjective. Just like we're very subjective. So the measures they are putting in place, if a child errs or does a particular thing, these are the things that you are going to do.
Put in place.
Put in place. If you do this, you are going to go to that naughty corner. That's a particular measure. That's discipline that you are putting in place to make sure that that person suffers that punishment. But this discipline that you are putting in place as an individual or probably as a teacher, because it actually happens between teacher and probably parents. Like I said earlier, a teacher might probably be disciplining and hearing student or child.
Yeah.
Why the parents? Because the parent is confused.
On both terms.
On both terms.
It might not necessarily mean that.
And,
it might not
discipline.
necessarily mean that the parent is confused. It might
Okay.
also be the teacher punishing
Yeah,
the child.
it is actually
That's why I said it's subjective.
it is
So
actually in
it
two
might
ways.
also be the teacher.
I think I'm
confused.
coming to that place too. It must actually be in two ways. The teacher might probably be disciplining, right? While the parent might see it as punishment. And also the teacher might probably be punishing that student.
Why the parents
sees
because
it
we have
as
seen parents come to
discipline.
school with cane and say that if this child
Thank
does
you.
this, flog her.
In fact,
or
let
flog him.
me I can remember when I was teaching in a particular school, there was a particular one of my students. She was so stubborn. And in that school, the rules one of the rules is that you shouldn't, you can't flog,
Yes.
even to punish,
Yes.
to tell an hearing student to kneel down is a problem.
Yeah.
So the mother of that girl came to school one day and she was like, Mr. Adeleke, because they used to call Mr. Adeleke, Mr. Adeleke, see, I brought this cane. If she behaves anyhow, you are free to flog her. No, for that woman, she sees flogging as discipline. She sees flogging as it, but that's not the way.
Yeah.
So what we are trying to say here is that if we are disciplining an hearing child, what we need to do is actually that we want to try to correct that behavior, that misbehavior, by letting that child knows that he or she has done wrong and giving that child a way of doing it in the right manner.
That's discipline.
Discipline.
That's
That's discipline.
So Adeleke, let's
for
let's
me-
hear from
For me,
Barakat.
I would like to say punishment in a real life scenario.
Okay.
So this has to do with shouting at the child,
Yeah.
scolding the child, threatening the child also. Not just sending the child out without listening to the child explanation. Why the discipline for me in a real life scenario, it appears to look like listening to the child's side of the story
Okay.
and also letting the child know what he or she did, letting him know that what he did was wrong, like that is knowing the right and the wrong. Because I got to understand that there are several early childhood theories that support the idea of teaching and guiding children, like Jim Piaget,
Yeah.
who believe that children make mistakes and they learn to interact with people. So, and young children do not think like an adult. So it is expected for an adult, when a child misbehaves, to correct them. So that's what I can say about punishment and discipline.
Okay.
Okay. Go ahead,
Sorry,
Bisi.
Fumilola. So I recently I was watching a particular video online, right? So there was a particular woman and a particular girl. So the girl, she was actually, I think she was on phone,
Okay.
right? She was on phone and she needed to pour something inside the cup, just like this cup now. Like I needed to pour something inside this cup, but I was on phone. She was on phone, rather. She was on phone. As she was on phone, she was pouring, instead of her pouring that
Instead of her
content
to
in the
focus
cup.
on
To
what
focus
she
on
was
that
doing.
cup.
Yes.
But
She
she
wasn't
was
focused.
engrossed
She was
with-
engrossed. Thank you. She was engrossed with the phone,
Yeah.
and she was pouring that content
Yeah.
on the
Table.
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 Do you know what the mother did?
What?
The mother came. She
Okay.
smiled. She cleaned the table.
Okay.
She didn't send it to that girl. She
Okay.
cleaned the table. That same mother. So they now showed another video of that girl taking using spoon to take a particular probably it was a powder or something. So she was not. What I'm trying to drive out is that she was taking that content and she was putting it in that cup properly. She was putting
You
it in
mean
that
the
cup.
child?
The child, yes.
Okay.
So it shows that the mother must have, in a way, corrected her or disciplined her, not punished her.
Yeah.
She must have disciplined her that when you are doing this, you shouldn't be engrossed with what?
That you should pay attention.
You should pay attention to what you are
you're
doing. So the next video they showed that the child, instead of her to be engrossed with that tab,
She was now
she was doing it
From
properly.
Yes, I really like this point. So that's why for me, I believe that children should face the consequences of their action.
Yeah.
But while facing that consequence of their action, it has to be designed in a way that the
child learns
child
from
learns
what they
from
have
what
done.
they are doing.
Exactly.
That is an example of what.
So,
Exactly.
Barakat, are you saying that consequences now is a form of punishment or discipline?
No,
No.
consequences is I think consequence is general. There will always be consequence for your
an
action.
Okay.
Yes, even I'm going to deviate a little. Even as
Yeah.
Christians, when you sin against God, God will forgive you.
Yeah.
But there will always be consequence for your action.
Okay.
So I think what she's saying is the outcome now.
Okay.
There will always be consequence. So like
Mhm.
BC has just said, the girl was distracted while she was pouring water. The mom would have told her, oh, don't be distracted. Next time you focus, okay? We do something one at a time. That's discipline. Do
Yeah.
you understand?
Yeah.
But then punishment is now giving me smacking her on the head. Do you
So, of
understand?
course,
So both of them, there are
going to-
consequence for
I'm
both
going
of them.
to, I'm going to, sorry, Adebisi, I'm going
Okay.
to come to that.
Mhm.
So I want parents,
Mm.
caregivers, teachers to understand that punishment doesn't have to be form of flogging.
Yes.
Punishment can come in different
Different
forms.
forms, exactly.
You know, let's say for instance now.
Sorry, Taiwo, do you mean discipline?
No, I
No,
No,
mean
he means
punishment.
punishment.
I mean
Punishment might not be
punishment.
shouting. It could be,
I mean
doesn't have to be
punishment now.
hitting.
You know, based on the context now, let's say the way we were trained, they believe that when they flog us, that's the
They have
only form
punished
of
us.
when they flog us, that they've punished us.
Exactly.
That's the only form of punishment.
Or
Punishment.
depriving us of eating food. Maybe eating
And
dinner.
No, aside that,
eating-
it could also
What
be
I'm-
you
what I'm-
shouting at the
wait,
child.
what
Yes,
I'm
and all these
driving
things
I
at
was
is that
even coming to
trauma.
that. I was actually
sorry,
coming to that.
Adebisi, what I'm
Okay.
driving at is that flogging is not the only form of punishment.
Punishment.
There are several ways you can punish
A child.
a child. You know, let's take for instance now, probably just like the example you actually made, like the girl not focusing on
On what she was
Exactly.
doing.
You know, some parents will probably smack
Exactly.
Mm.
that child.
That child.
Left to them, they feel that they've already
Correct
punished
the
the
child.
child.
Yes.
So now I want to use the aspect of shouting at the child
Child.
now. That's another form of punishment because they've deprived the child emotionally.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, during that period, the child could just go and stay in one place
Yes,
and
that's
just keep
right.
quiet and not say anything throughout the day.
Yes.
I was also going to add that the tone and the words that we use for children sometimes can be a form of punishment, because that's why
Yeah.
some people, when they grow up, they end up hating their parents, their mom or their dad, because they must
Yeah.
have said
They
some
have
things
trauma.
Yeah.
to them and they have suffered, like carried that trauma up until adulthood. So I agree with
Yeah.
what you said, that punishment doesn't have to be hitting a child or smacking a child.
Yeah.
It could be like words of mouth.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I also just wanted to add that sometimes people kind of confuse discipline and gentle parenting.
Hmm.
Do you understand? I think gentle parenting sometimes could be, this generation now,
Yeah.
what they have termed discipline to be
Yeah.
is gentle parenting.
Parenting. Exactly.
And parents mistake that a lot.
You're right.
What they use as gentle parenting, I think sometimes is over pampering. And that's why people end up training irresponsible children.
Yes.
And do you understand? And me as a parent now, if I'm a parent, I would not want my child associating with a child that is irresponsible or
Of
that
course.
came from
No
a
child.
family.
No child.
Okay, not a
You
child
you can't label.
I'm not
You
going to
can't
label.
really
Okay, I'm
okay.
just saying a person that is irresponsible.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, what do we have to say about that? Gentle parenting and discipline. People confusing it.
Yeah, true. You know, we are talking about discipline
Yeah.
and gentle parenting. Some parents, they might probably be trying to cover or try to pamper, just like you use the word pamper. They
Pamper.
might just be pampering their child. And that's because they don't actually want that child to go through discipline.
Yeah.
They feel if they allow that child or their child to go through discipline, they are not doing the bidding of the child. But because they want to do the bidding of the child, they tend to be like, just in quotes, gentle parents.
Or they don't want to see their child sad, or which is
But from the point of Fumilola, the result, the consequence of that gentle parenting is now that they may probably unknowingly be producing or developing irresponsible individual that might not want to take responsibilities for their actions.
And I also think it's probably because of how some people were brought up. Maybe they were brought up from disciplinarian parents,
okay,
and they don't want to be like that to their children, so they just kind of confuse it.
Fumilola,
They kind of confuse
see,
it
the
and maybe
aspect
want
of-
to
now,
pamper their children.
Let me come
Sorry,
to
please, Mr. Taiwo.
okay.
Please,
go
for
ahead.
me, I think discipline is more beneficial. Like you training a child in a well-disciplinary, like in a disciplinary way. I think that one is more perfect, because during that stage, that child learn responsibility.
Okay.
The child develop life skills, and is going to help that child in the future to become that responsible child in the future. So I felt the aspect of gentle parenting and discipline. So I felt parents should engage more in that disciplinary measures. I think that one
Instead
is more
of just
preferred.
being
Exactly.
But I believe that what we've said since has actually differentiated the punishment and discipline.
Yes.
But then people would still like get confused in the aspect of that. So if you are talking to somebody now, let's say an adult now, you are talking to an adult, like,
Okay.
my parents are very disciplined. But the disciplinary part they are talking about is about, flogging, shouting, and all of that. So I want us to use this platform to clarify that aspect, that discipline basically is about, like, allowing a child to learn
From their behavior.
from their behavior,
Yes,
not
or mistakes.
yes, or from their mistakes, not necessarily the punishments
Yeah,
Not you making the child suffer.
suffer
Like it's
for
the intention that
yes,
makes
yeah,
discipline and punishment.
because
different.
once you
Yes.
create a fear in a child, it becomes a problem.
Exactly.
Now, let's say, for instance, now, a child that they beat, let's say maybe a child did something today, still repeat it the next day. If as a parent, if your measure is flogging, it means that you are going to be flogging the child Monday,
Every
Tuesday,
day.
every blessed
And
day.
the child will
Yeah.
eventually
And
adapt.
It's
Yeah,
going to
that-
adapt. The child will be like, Shebi,
The
you
most
scared.
you do is
Yes.
flog me.
Shebi, you shall flog me. Once you flog me, you shall. So it's going to get used to that, and that's a big punishment.
That's a big problem.
Yeah, it's
actually.
a big problem because you're already creating fear. So we can even use, let's say, the aspect of parents that have like, how would I put it, that engage in violence.
Okay.
That's another form of punishment to a child.
How
Engage
so?
in violence.
How
How do
so?
you mean?
How?
Violence. Okay, now let
You
me
mean
bring
the
to
home?
No,
Do
I
you mean engage in violence with the child, or
No, I mean like
the
between
husband and
parents,
wife.
Okay.
like couples,
Like
now.
Okay.
domestic violence.
Yes, domestic violence. Thank you
Okay.
very much for that. Like domestic violence, it could be a form of punishment for the
For the
child.
child, yeah.
Because
of course.
during that period, the child could probably want attention.
Exactly.
Want to discuss, want to have some kind of conversation with either the father
Or the
or the
mother.
mother. But based on the situation that is going on ground, it can affect the child. That's a big punishment because the child would have that scenario. That's like an adverse childhood experience. The child will keep having that kind of memory in his head. So I'm just saying that it's another form of punishment. Even if couples want to have like issue like that, they should not do it in the presence of their children. It's a thing that they can actually settle amicably behind. Every child should not know what is going on
Between the
couple.
parents.
between the parents, because children imitate
What they see.
and
what they
hear.
see.
Of
Yes.
course.
And all of this, that as we are saying it, all of these are a big form of punishment.
You know,
So-
Taiwo, we said the other time that, punishment is like you're trying to make a child suffer
Yeah,
for his or her wrongdoing.
yeah,
Yeah.
But sometimes, because I just remember something, that sometimes the child might not even have done anything wrong.
Hmm.
How do I mean? See, there was a time I watched a particular movie, and this woman, she was a single mother, right? But she didn't give that child. She had just one
One
son.
child.
She didn't give that child attention. Do you know why she didn't give that child attention? You know, that attention that she didn't give that child is a form of punishment.
Yeah.
yeah,
It was not that the child has done anything wrong. So what I'm saying is that parents or people, sometimes we might actually be punishing a child unintentionally.
Hmm.
You might probably be punishing a child unknowingly.
Exactly.
I
To
like
us.
this is.
So,
I like.
I'm sorry,
this
Fumlela.
is-
Sorry,
okay.
I'm sorry, Fumlela. So the mother, she was not giving that child. Do you know why she wasn't giving that child attention? It was because of what happened between her
And the
and
father.
the father.
The father, okay.
It was because of that grudges. She was having a kind of grudges, having a kind of issues with the father. She was not passing that aggression on
the
that
child.
son, that innocent child.
Hmm.
She wasn't giving that child attention. She does whatever she likes. She leaves the child and all of that. Until, in fact, to the extent that she took that child to a particular school, a boarding school. She left that child at that boarding school for years.
Hmm.
It was that child's teacher that now took care of that boy, took care of him, and he and his wife nurtured that
Child.
boy till he grew up. Now, after that child now grew up, that boy grew up, she now came. Do you know what the boy said? Now he became a man.
Yeah.
He said he only knew that man, that teacher, that
As his
nurtured
father.
him.
Hmm.
That as far as he was concerned, he did not have any other mother or any other parent apart from that man that nurtured him, that took care of him. So that woman was not giving that child attention, but she was punishing that child, because to that child, he didn't get attention. It's a form of punishment.
Yeah,
Had it
punishment.
been that nobody took care of that boy, it might probably become a tout, or it might probably turn to something else because of lack of. It might probably be irresponsible
responsible to the
individual in the society. So sometimes we might probably be punishing a child and we don't know. So it is very important that parents, they look at what they do. They make sure that they give their children attention. They shouldn't allow what is going on between, probably a wife is allowing what is going on between she and her husband, or the husband also allowing what is going on between him and the wife to affect the children. Because if they allow that, they will be punishing the child. And of course, that thing can actually happen at school too.
Yes.
So there might be teachers that might be having grudges, right?
Mhm.
Teachers might be having. There are cases that we have two teachers in a particular class, or two teachers teaching a particular class. If they are not in good terms,
Yes, to
and there's a
affect the child.
particular child that is they might probably, because of their behavior, be affecting a particular child, giving a particular child punishment, not
Exactly.
giving a particular child
The
attention, not knowing that thing that they are doing is affecting the child. So this is another direction, another perspective that I really want people to really understand. That you might probably be punishing a child while you think you are holding grudges, or you're having difficult issues with another person.
Also, in the aspect of giving a child a task, parents also need to be calm with them. You know, there are some instances whereby, maybe, okay, for instance now, a child that finds it challenging to tie his or her shoelace.
Okay.
And you know how our father behaves now. You know, whenever they are going out, they will shout at you, "Oh, why are you slow? Why are you doing this?" You know, that kind of thing can create fear to that child. So, like a child that I know, that child also have difficulty in tying her shoelace. So getting to the school, the teacher noticed that. And what the teacher did was calm the child down, like explain to the child step by step on how to tie the shoelace. For like weeks, the child was able to do it. Why? Because the teacher gave the child attention and was able to explain a way whereby the child could understand. But because what really makes me what was funny to me was that,
Yeah.
when the child was finding it difficult, then the father already shouted at her the first day. So the next day, whenever the child is going to school, she will bring the shoe and the shoelace and give it to the father. She will not say anything,
Just do it
just
for
to do
her.
it for her. Because if she tried doing it, the father will shout at her. That kind of
And she feels,
yes,
she
and
feels
start
she couldn't
insulting
even
her,
do it by,
and she
by
couldn't do it by
herself.
herself. But you can see what the teacher did in that scenario. The teacher helped her, calm her down, and teach her. So when she got home, now she's doing it by herself.
Okay,
So when doing tasks,
okay.
parents need to be calm, speak calmly to them.
So, Adebisi, I'm kind of curious. I have some questions that I would like to ask so that we can share our perspective on it. So the question goes thus: why do parents, guardians, or teacher seems to always get it wrong when it comes to the best way to correct a child?
Why do parents, guidance, or teachers,
Teachers
why do they
Seems to
seem
always
to
get it wrong
wrong?
when it comes to the best way to correct a child.
I
let's
think
say, for instance, now a teacher tried to correct a child. Some parents will not like situation like that, like teacher helping them to correct their child.
Okay.
Probably the child had maybe beat one of the classmates, and the teacher tend to, let's say, apply punishment. Let's use punishment. Go and kneel down there. When the child gets home, the child will probably communicate with the parent. That's even if the parent is trying to listen to what the child is trying to say. Of course, the child will definitely say what happened in school. Be like, mommy, today my auntie asked me to kneel down. That can create, concern for the parent, and the parent could visit the school the next day.
Yeah.
So the question says that, why do parents, guidance, or teachers seem to always get it wrong when it comes to the best way to correct a child?
Yeah, I feel there is issue of subjectivity,
Okay.
right? So how do I mean? Whether it's coming from teacher, whether it's coming from parents or probably guidance, they might be biased.
Okay.
They might have a particular way that they see discipline as, or they see punishment as. That's probably where they might probably get it wrong. Like I was explaining the other time, I might be seeing something as punishment while another person is seeing it as what? Discipline. I might be seeing something as discipline while another person is seeing it as what? Punishment. So if a parent is seeing a particular thing as punishment, while for the teacher it is discipline, you can see that they're already getting it wrong. There will not be synergy, no correlation, no synergy between the parent and the teacher.
Yeah.
So sometimes in this scenario, in these cases, whether it's a parent that's getting it wrong or a teacher that is getting it wrong, right? So there might probably be, but if a parent knows something as a discipline and the teacher also knows it as a discipline, then they won't be getting it wrong.
Okay.
If a parent knows something as punishment and the teacher also knows it as what? Punishment, they won't be getting it wrong. That's why programs like this, discussions like this, that's why they matter. Because we are trying to let parents, guardians, caregivers, teachers know that this that you are doing is actually, you are actually doing punishment, but this is actually, you are trying to discipline them for the erring child, to learn.
Yeah.
So if a parent knows that what he or she is doing is actually to help the child learn, and they understand that what the teachers too are doing is actually for them to learn, right? There will be synergy. They will not be getting it wrong. But why they are actually getting it wrong, why sometimes it seems they are getting it wrong, is actually because whether the parent does not understand does not understand punishment from what? Discipline. Or the teacher too does not understand punishment from discipline. I don't know if Fumilola.
Okay, yes. So why do parents, teachers, and educators
caregivers
get it wrong?
Yes, why did they get it wrong?
So I think there are different reasons why they might get it wrong. And this will make me go back to what we have said earlier. I think one of the reasons why they might get you wrong, like I said earlier, might be because of their upbringing.
Okay.
like I said earlier.
Just like I mentioned, bias. They might be biased based on what they have, their disposition, what
Okay.
they have actually put in mind, what they see discipline. So you continue. What they see discipline and punishment as. So
As.
they tend to exhibit that their bias. They tend to show it out when it comes to discipline and punishment, and their bias might be different from another person's bias. So
Yeah.
if it differs, if there is difference, then there will be problem.
Okay, like I was saying, it could be because of, I would use our parents as an example. It might be because of what our parents went through in the hands of their parents. So they don't want to pass that down to their children.
Yeah.
And it could also be, if you look at it in another way, it could also be that maybe their parents were really tough on them. And to them, they turned out well. They want to be tough on their children too.
Exactly.
So it could be in two ways. And I also think another reason could be because of frustration. Some parents, teachers, educators might be frustrated. For example, a parent might have issues at work. They might be frustrated. They might be going through so much at work, personal problem. It could also be the teachers, could be the teachers going through personal problems. And that's why, as teachers, we work with children. It's advisable that when you're going through something and you're coming to work, you work in the school, drop it at the gate, because you're working with children.
Yeah.
Your mood,
Everything.
children
It
can tell
shows.
mood.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then your mood affects the children.
Exactly.
Do you understand? So I think there are different reasons why teachers, parents might get it wrong.
I think it might be conflict between the parents and the teacher.
Yeah.
That one too can cause it.
Yes,
Because I've seen cases whereby, a parent and a teacher, they had issues. The teacher is taking the child of the parent she's having issue with. There's sometimes whereby, if she's teaching the many students in the class, even including the child, the way she handled that child, I don't really like it. But I understand that it is because she and the parents, they're not in good terms. So that kind of scenario also, teachers can, that they can give negative emotions to that child.
I think
Okay.
what she's saying is that there should be synergy
Yes,
Yeah.
between parents
and the
and
teacher.
teachers,
No
such that
matter
they are
the
doing
condition,
such that they are doing the same thing. If something
Yes.
happens in the school, as a teacher, you tell the parents what are the strategies that you're putting in place at home. Do you understand? So we can see if we can work with that strategy or we change strategy. So I think synergy between parents and teachers,
teachers.
educators and teachers, parents and caregivers, or parents and nannies, I think it's really, really important.
No, that reminds me of something. So I could remember there was a time I was, teaching a particular class, primary 6 then. So there was this, I was just, employed as a new teacher. So there was this girl in my class, just being a new teacher, right? And they came from primary 5 to, 6. And there was this girl in my class, she doesn't, contribute in the class. But she's a very good girl. She's very intelligent. But I noticed that she doesn't contribute, right?
She's not active.
She wasn't really contributive in the classroom activity. She
Yeah.
wasn't like engaging. Sometimes I'll make sure that I ask her questions,
before
but she
she
doesn't really, express. She doesn't really talk.
Okay.
And I noticed that apart from the classroom teaching and learning activities, whenever she engages herself with probably her friends, she talks, she plays, and all of that. But in the classroom setting, when the teaching and learning activities was going on, then she wouldn't, talk. But do you know the what now amazed me in this particular issue? What amazed me is the fact that we usually do test
Mhm.
midterm
test.
not even midterm,
Weekly
test. Thank you.
Okay.
We usually do weekly tests. So there was, and we used to give them grade. So this particular child got a B in the grade. So the next day, the mother came to school and she was now like, how would she get a B? That a child doesn't get a B, that she has never gotten a B. Do you know the kind of message that the parent was trying to pass to me?
Yeah.
Was it A the guy was getting before? Or
I was a new teacher.
Okay.
They started a new session, right?
Okay.
So she was using her own
Experience.
past thinking. Probably the
Previous
child was
teacher.
sorry,
The
previous
previous
teacher. Maybe the previous teacher was just trying to dance to a tune
Tune.
when the child was in primary 5. But I couldn't do that. I have to give a child his
What
or her
they
score.
got.
You understand? So I give the child what there was no. I didn't do any.
Panky, panky.
I didn't do anything. I just gave her this. But she came and she said her child has never gotten a B. That why should I now began to explain to her that it could probably be because maybe she reduced her performance because she doesn't really contribute in class. You know, sometimes when students contribute in class, when they engage during examination,
Yeah,
they
it
tend to
helps.
remember those things that they are.
Yes.
But I noticed that she wasn't engaging. So I now told the woman, I said it could probably be because I am a new teacher, I don't know. But then there are other students too that they engage. So before you know it, the next time rather, she started, because I tried explaining, because the woman first came with why, first that why should my child get a B? So because I tried explaining to the woman, tried telling her this is what was actually happening during the classroom activities, right? The next time she began to engage to the point that she's now started getting what the woman was expecting. So in this kind of situation, you can see that I acted in a way that I gave her what she got. You can't be questioning me. I have authority over the class, trying to defend myself.
That's where our point now comes in.
Yes.
There will be conflict.
There will be
And there won't be
conflict.
synergy.
There won't be synergy.
That's why
But because I
communication
tried
is important.
understanding that the child, though the woman already had this particular mentality about her child, that her child has never gotten a B. But it does not mean that someone that has not gotten a B cannot get a B. You understand? So
Yeah.
we need to the parents actually need to understand where the teacher is coming from. Why teacher also needs to
Understand
explain
where
things
parents-
and also understand where parents are coming from.
Exactly.
So if a teacher understands where the parent is coming from, and parents also understand where the teacher is coming from,
There will be
it's coming
synergy
from-
and
there will be-
collaboration.
That is why,
synergy.
that is why, from what you just said now, that is why I think parents need to ask questions about their child. How is that child doing in school from teachers? Because it is the teacher that can give them a good response about
Not
that
just
child.
that.
Okay.
Teachers also have to ask parents, because you'd be
You're
surprised
right.
that you'd be
Yes,
surprised
yes,
that the
yes.
way children behave in school is different from the way they do
behave
at home.
Exactly.
Yes,
They know
yes,
that they are in
yes.
school, and they know
Yes.
that school is structured. There are rules and
Exactly.
regulations
Yes,
put in
yes,
place.
yes,
Do you understand?
You're right.
And then they watch they already know what comes next after break time. This is what comes. But at home, they know that they can
They're
get
free.
away with a
Yes.
lot of things. So I don't think so. It's not just the
Okay. I
parents
think
asking
both
the
the
teacher.
teacher and the parents.
That's
they
why we
need
said
to work together.
synergy and
Yes,
collaboration
they just
is
need to work
very
together.
important.
So above all, in order not to, miscommunicate the idea of getting it wrong when a particular, let's say the parent or the teacher or caregivers correct their child, is to have like a synergy.
Yeah.
So
Synergy.
there's another
Question.
questions that still bothers me. So I think I should ask, what role does culture, religion, or tradition play in the mode in which someone tends to correct a child?
I think this is a very important question
Yeah.
when it comes to this topic. So I'll bring it down to the Bible.
Okay.
So you are coming from the religious
I'll bring it
perspective,
to
right?
the religious perspective.
Yeah.
There's a part in the Bible that says, "Spare the rod and spoil the child."
Okay.
If you are looking at it literally, it means that whoop the child. Do you understand? Spare the rod, spare the child. If you don't whoop the child would go bad. So I think if you're looking at it from that aspect, maybe I don't know if it's safe to say that the Bible is supporting punishment, whooping the child. And also, I don't know if we have read this book, Popular Hibiscus by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. And in this book, we see a father. His name is Eugene. He attends Catholic church. I don't know. I can't remember if he's a father in the church. And then he has children. One of the child's name is Kambili. We have seen in the book, you see how much he punished those children. Like, he was so much of a disciplinarian, such that I can't remember in the book because it's been years since I read it. I can't remember what the girl did. He poured hot water on her feet, or on her hand, or something like that. So if you bring it down to
you mentioned that he was so much of a disciplinarian.
that was his own form of punishment.
Okay.
So there are different things in the book that his children did,
Alright.
and the punishment was just so extreme.
Was there any consequence after the punishment? Did anything happen to the
To the
children? Maybe due to that punishment? that
Anything
they-
happened to the children? They were so, yeah, yes. Let me just add to that. I remember in the book, the children were so quiet. I remember Kambili in the book. She was so quiet. She didn't have friends in school. I think that kind of
Just like you were
ruined her
saying,
confidence.
it affected her emotions.
Yes, it affected her emotions and her confidence. So that just really, that affected her a lot in school. She didn't have friends like that. She didn't have
She will have
social life.
self-doubt about
Yeah, she didn't
herself.
have social life and all of that. So yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's okay. So lastly, let's talk about do parent, teachers, or guardians' upbringing or past experience contribute to how they react to an hearing child?
I think we've answered that question
Yeah,
before.
we
That
are,
their
but we can still
upbringing.
talk about
Yeah.
it
So I
because
just
I let me start with this. There was a particular film I watched sometimes, and there's this woman. So she initially married a man, right? So she gave birth to a child, one boy. But she was how did they call um she was going to work. I want to remember how you can actually
Link it.
somebody that a woman that goes to work. I want to remember how we.
She's a working class.
She's a
woman.
working class. Thank you. She's a working class, right? So she goes to work and she leaves that child with a particular woman that sells provisions on the streets, right? So there was a day she was not coming back from. She left the child with that woman already. She went to work. So she now came back from work. She now asked that woman, "Where is my son?" Not knowing that that woman had already, left the child. The woman had already started, selling her provision. She was not even paying attention to that child. Before you know it, the child had already gone to somewhere. I think he went to a swimming pool or something. He was drowned. The child was
He
drowned. He was drowned and he died. Do you know the husband of that woman put blame on her that it was because of her negligence, because of her attention to her work? That was why the child died. That husband left her. She now got married to another person. She gave birth to another boy. Do you know how she treated that boy? Do you know how she treated that boy?
How?
She did not allow any single thing to touch that boy, that new boy. And she was doing that because of her previous or past experience. So it shows that her past experience, she allowed that to affect that new boy. So anytime that boy did wrong, she would not even have time to probably discipline or correct that child. She doesn't want any correction. In fact, if the boy mistakenly falls down, she begins to shout.
Be dramatic
She
about
begins
it.
to be dramatic about it. She doesn't want anything to happen to that child. She doesn't want any correction. She does not even want to. She was not thinking about the life of that boy, how the boy is going to be taking up responsibility, how the boy is going to be making decisions on his own, just because of our past experience. So it is possible that somebody's past experience might probably affect. So we need to be careful. The fact that we experience something in the past does not mean that we should now use that past experience to affect the current or future aspect of our child.
Yeah, I like this point that you make now, because this story also relates to one special need child that I know about in our area there. So I got to understand that that child, where they were coming from, the child has Down syndrome. So, and the parents, they are not paying attention to the child ability. They said the child then, the way he interacts with people see it like it's too hard on them.
Okay.
So whenever the
doesn't that he interacts in an aggressive way?
Yes, very aggressive, because they didn't give any intervention, nothing.
There was no therapist
exact nothing, because they feel like is just there that being a special need child, like some parents
Maybe
they felt
maybe they felt they were helpless or something, or there was nothing they could do to,
I didn't even
that
know
child.
much about. But what me I want to drive from what you just said now is that so that child, when they left the child with a small baby, I think he hurt that
He hurt the child.
the child, the baby. So ever since then, so that's that because of the incident, they left where they were staying. They moved to another place. So when they got to a new apartment, they camped the child inside. They didn't allow the child to come outside. Even for me to even know that there's a special needs in that place, it takes time. But when I go, I was like, what happened? I had to ask. So someone shared the story with me. They calm the child, even to go to school, to go anything, they don't. And the child is now a grown-up boy. Like if you see,
Do you know why they camped the
it's
child?
because of the incidents
because
that
of that
happened, because of the
previous
experience
They,
that
they don't
happened.
they don't want that
That
child
thing
to
to
actually
happen
hurt another person.
again. So you can see. So it's not about only the parents. It can also happen to child. Like the experience a child had can also affect what we are saying now.
Yeah, like
Current
the experience.
The
Yes.
experience, yes, it can also affect.
And it is actually it's not even about that child.
It's
It's
not the
actually
child,
the experience of the guardians or the
guardians.
parents.
It's the parent. The parents are scared that if they let
Let
him
him
out, he might
outside, yes,
affect.
it's going
affect
to
another
affect
person,
He
them.
might hurt
another
another
That
person.
happened
child.
before.
So
So they
it's
don't
not
want
even
it.
the child this
So they
time.
don't want
Probably
it.
The
cause
child
them.
is
happen.
the child has special needs and might not
yes.
even be aware of what is
That's what
happening
I'm
in
trying to say,
his
that
or might
that's-
not know that what he has just done is wrong.
It's wrong,
Exactly.
So
exactly.
it's the responsibility
Of
of
the
the
parents.
parent to address
Yes.
it in the right way
But
and not
no.
allow their past experience affect.
But presently,
present.
it is really affecting because now they are camping the child inside.
And that's because they did not address it. That's why.
So I feel for parents in this kind of situation, right? They need to learn that they don't have to abandon such a child, right?
Yes.
You
They
can
need to seek
you
advice.
seek advice,
Ask
you can ask
questions.
questions,
Get a therapist, observe the child and
observe
all
the
of
child
that, yeah.
and try to be there for that child, because you can't just leave that child. It's as if they have
Especially a
already
child that
they have
has
already
special
left
needs.
it.
You can't
Exactly,
leave a
because
child
for
that
me,
has
I
special
You
needs.
can't just
for
leave
me,
him like that.
because for me, I do see it as if like one day the parents will get old. Your sister, the elder sister, everybody will find one thing to do.
And then they are
Because
killing.
everybody have their life to live.
Of course, now.
So what will happen to the child?
And then they are
child.
killing other areas of the child's development.
Exact-
There's social development.
None.
I'm sure the child doesn't have friends, does not
Even the
communicate.
physical, and none. The child is not doing anything.
Mental
just seeing,
development.
just
and all
seeing
of-
the parents, just the mother, the father, the sister, and the sibling. No relationship with other people.
No interaction.
So I
nothing,
think
nothing.
parents need to learn more about their children, especially the special needs children.
So, yeah.
So there's this there's another thing I want us to share our perspective on the aspect of parents wanting their children to do what they want. Can we say can we also say is another form of punishment?
Wanting their children to do what they want.
What they want, like they as the parents, they want their child to do what they want. Let's say, for instance, now, let's say you are not interested in studying engineering, but your parents want you to study.
Oh, that's far. That's far. Let's talk about children now, because engineering, that's like adults.
No,
with
I mean-
18,
No,
19.
no.
A child is also
somebody
like
between
okay,
0 to
0 to
17 now.
17 years now.
Somebody that is 17 might probably be thinking of going to higher institution,
Higher institution is still a
become an
child.
engineer.
learning engineering.
So it's
In
still
fact,
a
that's
child.
even the best state that we can actually discuss this.
Yeah.
Because a child that is probably 16, 17 is already preparing for higher institution.
Institution,
And
yes.
probably want to decide the discipline that he or she wants to go to, right?
Yeah.
So a parent might want to come in that
What's
this is
the
what I
question
want
again?
to go and study, right?
Yeah.
So
What's the
I
question
can't
again?
say
So the question is, what I said was that, can we say that a parent wanting a child to do what they want, is it a form of punishment?
no.
I think it's 50-50, because it's the motive behind it. Because how do I even explain it now? So if maybe there are two options,
Okay.
the child might be right. Do you understand? And that this is where communication comes in. So if the child is right, and then you are imposing on the child to do what you want without listening to the child's opinion,
Yeah.
I think that's punishment. But in all, like I said, this is when communication is important. Parents and the child, even if the child is as small as 3 years, ask the child question. So I think
For me,
I think
I don't.
communication is the basis of.
For me, I don't think it is punishment actually, because we can't actually say that is
Why?
punishment.
Because
Because it could
because
be
there are
mental
some,
health.
because there's going
We
to be a
said-
situation whereby the child might not find interest.
In doing the
In-
course.
See the
Doing the
example
course.
you gave, a child going to the university. In the
Yes.
nearest future, the child could go back and say that
This is
I
not
really
what-
didn't want to study
study
engineering.
Yeah, these things
We have
happen.
situations
These
like
things
that.
happen, but I still stand on that ground. I don't think it's a
okay.
punishment actually. Because
Okay.
we are saying that punishment is when you make somebody suffer from something.
You just
can
made
come,
somebody
yes,
suffer
it can
mentally.
come in on that
No,
No,
Just let someone suffer mentally.
it's not that the child did something wrong. We need to clarify it. It's not that the child did something wrong. It's
Okay.
just that the parent probably wants the child to probably go for a particular discipline, and the child might probably not want that discipline. That does not mean that the child did wrong and the parent is now trying to make that child suffer. No parent will ever use a particular discipline or try to tell a child to learn something or to go and study a particular course as a form of punishment for the child.
But we
I
have
don't
just
think
said
there-
that.
there's
We
going to
just
be a
said
parent
that
that-
punishment does not have to do with bodily.
Yes, physical stuff.
It could
Yes.
also be emotional. It could be
Yes.
mental. So
Yes.
imagine a child now that's going to
Yes.
study engineering. In the nearest future, the child is not happy. You have just stressed the
No,
child mentally.
let's
4
listen
years.
to
this
this
is-
And then the child now
this
ends
thing
up
happen.
becoming
No,
I
sorry,
have-
Shanola,
I have a
sorry,
scenario.
Taiwo, these
Okay.
things happen actually.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying that these things don't happen.
Mhm.
I'm only saying that we cannot say it is punishment. That if a parent actually wants to punish a child, and that's why he or she is telling a child to go and study a particular course.
The
of
parent
this
just
course.
unintentionally punished the child, because we have just said earlier that
That's why I said it's
punishment
not
does
a
not have to be
punishment,
physical.
actually.
So that's mental. You
I have
stressed me
a
for 4
scenario.
years in the university
Yeah.
to study engineering.
Yeah.
And in the nearest future, I didn't find happiness in it. You just stressed me mentally. Now I'm a chef.
So
no,
it's-
I'm
wait,
not saying
I
that this is
understand,
not happening,
yes,
but it's not
these are
that
two
it's
ways.
not that the
So
parents
that's why I said
actually
it's 50-50.
punishing the-
Yeah,
That's why I said it's 50. It
because
could
now
be
let me share
discipline
my own
and it could be
experience.
punishment.
Let's hear from
because
Let's hear
my own
about
experience,
that.
because when I was planning to write my jam, right from time my mom used to tell me, I want you to become a pharmacist. Right from time. And my mom is kind of person that she's a disciplinary woman, and anything she says, stand. Nobody can change it for her. She said I'm going to be a pharmacist. But me, inside me, I was like, me, pharmacy. Although I'm a science student, even the science, I'm supposed to go to art class. But she said, no, you are going to science class. Because I have another mother again. That one, she's not like a spiritual mother. That one want me to become a doctor. Only me. I was like, and me, I'm an
Medical
average
doctor.
student in that as a science
In that
student.
field.
At least from 1 to 15, at least my name will still appear. But I'm not strong. Especially the chemistry this subject chemistry, I'm not good at it. Because I know I'm weak at this. But my mom, she insisted that you have to become a pharmacist. Even if you cannot become that doctor, but you have to become a pharmacist. Okay, that's what you want me to do. Then I wrote the jam. I wrote my maths, physics, chemistry, everything. Do you know what? My chemistry, I didn't meet up with the score. Everything. The score was not good. One way or the other one, I found myself in the College of Education, which is a family education, which I did. Although I didn't like it. But she was not happy with it. She wasn't happy. But she said education. Okay, me, I don't want education. I don't want to go. She said, okay, you can continue with it. Like, if pharmacy did not work, at least this education also, she has interest. But I said, I don't want education. She said, no, you have to follow my order. But to God be the glory, I really love it. Then I didn't like it. But now, I love it.
Now, Fumla, do you know why I said it is? We can actually tag it as punishment.
So
I
I
didn't
didn't see
say
it as
punishment.
punishment.
I said
now.
it's 50-50.
Yes,
I said it could be
I don't even
discipline
believe
and it
it
could be
is-
punishment.
It might not even be discipline. For me, I don't see it as either punishment or discipline. It is only when, for instance, a parent wants a child to probably study medicine, right? And the child says he wants to study accounting, right? And the child probably gets admission for that accounting. And the parent now decides not to pay that school fees for that accounting. Now it becomes what?
A
Punishment. But that a parent wants a particular child to go and study a particular discipline, course of study, right? Because the parent wants that course. You cannot actually say it's a punishment for the child.
Sometimes
The
it
parent
can
might
be
probably
of
be
help.
trying to
Yes.
make decisions for the
For the
child. You
child,
can
yes.
actually say that a parent shouldn't try to make decisions for children. They
Yeah,
should
that's
allow
why I
them make
said. That's why I
decisions.
said communication is.
Yeah,
Because
they
it
should
can be
allow,
of
but
help to
I
the
don't
child.
really want, though,
Exactly. It
for
can be of help
me,
to the child.
for my own perspective, I believe, for my opinion, I believe that it is not a form of punishment or discipline.
But
Okay.
to the child at the beginning, it might be a form of punishment to the child. It will be later that the child might see value in what the mother or anybody
Or might not see value.
exactly.
Okay, so there is a particular quote by Shino Achebe in There Was a Country. I think I read the book, There Was a Country by Shino Achebe. So he said, when my reasoning, imagination, or interest not engaged, I would not and could not learn. So parents need to understand that a child needs to probably engage his reasoning, his imagination, or his interest. That means that the child must be interested in a particular thing, not that they forcing the child to go and study a particular discipline. So it might not be a form of punishment. To me, it might not be a form of punishment or a form of discipline. But then parents need to allow students or their children to make decisions, because their reasoning, their interest, their imagination must be engaged before they learn and before they tend to probably go for what they really want to go for.
Exactly, you are right.
Okay, that's fantastic. So in this episode, we've been able to talk about punishment and discipline. We've been able to understand that punishment is actually trying to make a child suffer for what they do, while discipline is basically making the child learn from what they do. So I believe you've been able to learn a lot of things in this episode. So if you find this platform interesting, kindly give us thumbs up and also subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Child and
And
Us.
us.